I hereby call this meeting of the Orangetown Town Board for December 17th, 2019 to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilman Dennis Troy,
Present.
Councilman Tom Divany,
Present.
Councilman Paul Valentine,
Here.
Councilman Jerry Batari,
Here.
Supervisor Chris Day.
Here, would Esther Baylor please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you, Esther. Oh my, it's gonna be one of those nights, folks. Okay, we got a few announcements, then we'll go into our workshopping of the agenda, then we'll have public comment or the hearing, whichever comes first, and then we will go back and vote on the agenda items. First announcement, Town of Orangetown is currently sponsoring a holiday coat drive along with the other towns. It is a competition, though there is no prize except for helping poor people. The program runs now through December 23rd. We're competing, like I said, collecting coats for children and adults, can be dropped off at the entrance inside Town Hall, inside the bin, and then all coats will be cleaned by local dry cleaners free of charge, and then donated to organizations such as People to People of Rockland County for distribution. Again, we said this last time, but to reiterate, streetlight repair request form, Orangetown website under the How Do I section on the main page. If your streetlight's out and it's attached to a wooden telephone pole, it's us, go there. If it's a metal pole from the ground up, that's O&R, go to them. I can't promise they'll fix it, but I can promise that's where you need to go to. Orangetown will be hosting 2 public information sessions regarding our participation in the Community Choice Aggregation Program. The first one is tomorrow, Wednesday, December 18th, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at Greenbush Auditorium, which is over the Building Department / Orangeburg Library on Greenbush Road. The next is Saturday, January 11th at 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. here in Town Hall. Reminder, the Community Choice Aggregation is an option by which we, as a town, may elect to pursue to retrograde the authority to set the default electrical provider from New York State to Orangetown, so that if you don't have a specific supplier already picked out, it would default to a different one that would, in that case, save money. It's a public information session, and then there will be additional actions required by the board should they desire to move forward with that at that time. Okay, so moving on to the workshop portion. We don't have any presentations scheduled for today. We do have public comment, and then we have a closed public comment. Agenda items include our public hearing scheduled for the Galway Bay petition, or repetition, I guess it is, under the new code for the PAC zone. I almost said TOD, but not quite. The PAC zone requiring additional action there. Then a resolution to close or continue. Then the resolutions associated with the negative declaration and the adoption of the local law that would modify in accordance with our authority that we created or we established under our last modification of the PAC zone law. Moving on to item 7 is the public hearing of the town board workshop for a regular town board meeting tonight for approval of the map for the Pearl River Fire District. It should be relatively innocuous unless there's a border battle going on between them and Orangeburg. Resolution to close public hearing and consider approval. And then resolution for approval of the map is item 9. Item 10 is resolution to continue the public hearing and close it for Bieber. It has been withdrawn by the petitioner, which was not particularly surprising. Item number 11. This is the circulation of our intent to serve as lead agency pursuant to SECRA for the environmental assessment form for the paused on TOD zone. This will allow us to distribute it to adjacent agencies and interested parties, such as, if you scroll down or if you look in your paper, I believe it lists several of them, including the New Jersey Transit, the adjacent towns, etc. That then, and the county highway, state highway. That'll secret, they'll get their opinion in, and then the process can move forward once you get that back. Resolution to approve film permit and the use of Nike Overlook Park. That was $10,000 for the filming from 2 days for the license fee, for Nike Overlook Park. Then resolution to approve same sort of thing, but for the South Orangetown Little League parking lot for $1,500 for 1 day. Getting some good money in at the last minute here. Then resolution to approve settlement, Sami Mahatmajaj versus the town of Orangetown. This is related to the Hickory Hill, where there was an error from the 1990s on the map that led it to be listed as R15 when it was actually R40. There was excessive costs that would have been associated with this litigation, both on our attorney's end and also the potential for cash award. And this settlement, though a larger number than one normally sees in a settlement, I would say, is simply reflecting of those costs and the fact that we were able to lock in that there will not be any subdivision, and will preserve that community as R40, which is good. And so that was reached when was it? A week ago? Last week, last Thursday. It's all blurring together. Resolution number 15, accept, receive, and file documents for town clerk's office, various items. Creating 4 MEO3 positions. There was this long negotiation that started, I think, in 2018 with a union about creating MEO3 to reflect the different skill levels. This is not affecting the budget as it was planned by Superintendent Dean. It creates 4 MEO3 positions. There will be a process by which candidates can meet criteria and bump up. It's not additional slots, so they kind of net out from the MEO2s. It's just giving another grade up. Resolution to award bid, furnish, and install 2 new roof-mounted HVAC units at the Highway Department by Bertucci Contracting. That's $73,550. Resolution to approve a residential adopt a spot at Ethan Allen Court, 26 Orangeburg Road. Resolution to approve a caretaker agreement, item 19, for Nike Park, a 2% increase. This is for 2020, January 1st through December 31st of this coming year. Same sort of thing for Henry Borst Park, with a fee of $1,223 as the fee for caretaker agreement. Then resolution to approve memorandum of understanding with the New York Sharks swim team for pool use at the South Orangetown Middle School. As a point of information, if everyone wasn't following along, the current agreement with South Orangetown has been extended for negotiation through mid-January, so we'll be able to discuss with them, and it won't just run out on us over the new year. It was supposed to end on December 15th. Resolution to award bid for Broadacres Golf Course golf cart lease, $33,000 a year. To Easy Go of Georgia. Resolution to approve change order for Chief Bill Harris Way demolition. They did discover some limited asbestos, so there was a slight increase in cost to remove those old buildings that are at the corner of Chief Bill Harris Way. Accept donation of the John Hickey Memorial Tree, Blue Hill Golf Course. This is be planted in the spring of 2020. Then moving on, we have what is this? This is the set of public hearing for the Orangeburg Commons, which was a presentation we heard last week. It was last meeting, sorry. To do a combo hotel with a second brand as opposed to 2 separate freestanding hotels. The nature of the zone is that there are certain percentages required. This affects the percentage of type of use, so therefore it requires a zone change, though the use was already permitted. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it not listed, or is it? Okay. Does anyone have their calendar for the next meetings? There we go. Okay, good. When do you folks want to hear it? Obviously not on the reorganizational meetings. It's good for the 14th of January. Okay, so it's got to be the 28th of January is the earliest it could be, because we're on the 17th of December. The 14th of January is the next one.
All right.
So 28th January at 7:45. Is that okay?
Yep.
That's good. I'm looking at you over there. You're the one in charge of this. Okay, let me just write a note about that. So that's 121 at 7:45. Okay. Thank you, Rob, for pointing that out. Resolution authorizing the construction. I said 20. Yeah, you're right. 28. Sorry, I said 21 the second time. It was 28. This is multiple of 7, so it counts. Then we have bonds. We looked at these. Everyone's been circulated, and we talked about these in a little bit. So this covers a series of different bonding resolutions, which you guys have the backup on. We have one thing that's covered of note is that we would be redoing every we've done a certain number of playgrounds. We'd be redoing all of the rest of the playgrounds in the town, which are all past 20 to 30 years old. And also, there is a provision. We received word that we have approval for grants for the Veterans Park Playground Complex from the state. At minimum $250,000, likely $500,000. So there is a provision for $250,000 in there to fill it out, because the cost of a new fully integrated, every type of kid with every type of issue playground is about $500. But that, as Jeff has said, can be pulled out before the next set of things that need to be done with this. So it's just a cover, because we only have 100% confirmation on half the grants, not on the full grants. And the bonding was reduced by about $1 million last time, and this goes up to about another $500,000 or so more than, or $700,000 more than it was. Previously it was 9 and 9, and it's now 8 and 9, 7 or something like that. Then we have a couple related to a justice court clerk position, which we'll discuss in executive session. And then we have pay vouchers, and then adjournment, and then we have some items for executive session beyond that, as I'm sure we all are aware of. Okay.
All right.
Rob wants to, executive session to talk about something we may come back and vote on.
Yes, we're going to have to come back and vote. We're not going to adjourn with the executive session, so we're going to leave that open. Okay, so what time is it? 7:46, technically 7:45. Before we get started with the hearing, I do want to just take a moment. I'm going to say a couple words at the end, but because it's the beginning and they're here for no reason in the evening, I wanted to thank a couple of people. They're here, and I wanted them to come up. This is my last meeting, and they've done a great job for me for 2 years. So first, just to be stand and recognized, I want to thank Jeff Bensick, who's been my finance director the whole time. If we can give him a round of applause. I figure it'll be more impressive when people are in the room, because if this happens at 10 o'clock, it's going to be pretty embarrassing. Greg Garvey also has done a great job as economic development director. Unfortunately, he's not here at the moment, but he has done an incredible job. I also want to thank 2 other people who've helped me very much, someone with a lot of experience in the role, my secretary, Kim Allen, and someone who came in with me. Hold on, you don't stand up yet. And someone who came in with me, a confidential assistant, Amanda Highland. Both of you have been incredible, and I couldn't have, everyone who knows me knows I'm very forgetful, so I know Amanda was not here. I would have not made it to a single meeting the whole time. And I would have forgotten everyone's birthday if it wasn't for Kim, that's for sure. So I have some flowers for both of you, if you could both come up real quick. So now you guys can cut out if you want to. Kim was upset. She's like, why is he making me stay? What's happening?
Chris, I'd also like to just acknowledge your 2 years as our supervisor. The town of Orangetown was very lucky to have you. You did an incredible job. I served under a couple of supervisors before you, and they didn't hold a candle. The last 2 years, more was accomplished than the previous years that I've been on the board, and as long as I can remember. So the town of Orangetown owes you a debt of gratitude, because you really did a great job, and you pointed us in the right direction. I'm sure Teresa's going to run with the baton, but you definitely changed the direction of the town and did a good job, and you stood up for what you thought was right. Whether it was adversary or not, you stood up and you did the right thing. So I appreciate, and as I'm sure the rest of the board members and the town does, all that you've done for us, and we're going to miss you as our supervisor. And I'm happy to call you my friend, and I'm proud to call you my friend forever.
Thank you, Paul. You guys don't have to say anything else. So. I know what you really think. I'm going to say a couple of words at the end, but I don't want to hold up anyone else's business, so I think just for flowers for the ladies was fine. So I'm going to entertain a motion we're going to go straight into the public hearing since it's now 7:49. A motion to open the public hearing regarding the Galway Bay petition.
I'll make a motion.
Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Would the applicant please step forward? First of all, as you walk forward, has everything been published as needed for this?
Yes, we have
All right. Great. And Teresa, Rob, are we good on your end with this? Yeah. You'll tack in with comments?
Yep.
All right.
Good evening,
Brian?
Mr. Supervisor, members of the town board. Thank you. on behalf of the applicant, Galway Bay, and also the name of the property owner is actually Dion's Way. It's an affiliated company. On behalf of those applicants, my name is Brian Quinn. I'm the attorney for the applicant. Also have here with us this evening Mr. Tom Acton. He's the principal of both of those entities, as well as Jay Greenwell, who prepared the site plan for this application. I feel like this is deja vu. You guys must be getting sick of seeing me on this matter, because it has kind of been pending for a while. We were back before this board in 2018. And it was an application to amend a piece of property from the CS zone to the PAC zone. And after a couple of public hearings, this board did approve that rezoning of the property into the PAC zone. Following that meeting, we proceeded to the planning board for a site plan application. And at the first meeting we attended, we were given, by unanimous vote, a negative declaration under SECRA, State Environmental Quality Review Act, as well as preliminary approval. So I think the planning board liked the project. We were then referred to the ZBA because there were some variances that were required. Under the old PAC zone, this board was given certain leeway in granting some variations from bulk requirements. And the PAC zone, which, as someone who does a lot of zoning, I found to be very confusing. I actually met with the town attorney's office a couple of times to try to get a little guidance on this. But long and short of it, we went to the ZBA, and I think this was the first downtown rezoning of PAC since there's one project that I know of, that's the old movie theater, which is immediately adjacent, right next to this property. That's the subject of this application. And the ZBA was concerned about it, concerned about the way the PAC zone was written. So that meeting was continued. And after that meeting, in consultation with the town attorney's office, we met a couple of times, discussed things. And it was decided that the town would apply to amend their PAC zone so that this board, the town board, which is the one that grants the rezoning of the property, could consider the entire concept and the project as one unit and grant whatever variances or differences in bulk were required. So we were before this board a couple of months ago. This town approved the amendment to the zoning code to allow this board to grant all of the variations in bulk for this particular project, and you approved that. So we then applied under the new PAC zone for reapproval of this project. And I'll start out by saying that this project is exactly the same as the one that you viewed back in, I think it was June or July of 2018, and approved. Just briefly, the property itself, if you're not familiar with it, is the Joyce Realty Building. It's between North William. It goes all the way over to South Main Street. And it's a one-story building. The proposal has always been to add 2 floors to that. The first floor will remain commercial in accordance with the PAC zone. 2 floors above, there would be a total of 16 age-limited apartments, all 1 and 2 bedrooms. So this particular project has been reviewed by many boards, and for the most part has received positive reviews. So we're here now to hopefully get final approval with respect to the additional variations that are required as far as bulk goes. I do have Mr. Jay Greenwell here if you'd like to have him make a presentation with respect to the site plan. On the other hand, if you've heard this before and you're familiar with it, we don't want to take up any more of your time than is necessary.
If it's unchanged, I think we're very familiar with it at this point. Yes.
Good.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Again, this is the same project we approved, but now we have new authority to approve the other stuff that was left previously for the ZBA, is what it boils down to.
No.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Brian, and we're going to see if there's anyone in the public who would like to speak.
Sure, I'd just like to reserve an opportunity to respond if somebody has any questions or negative.
You got it. Okay, I don't know, I didn't see any sign-ins. We have no sign-ins for the Galway Bay petition. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on the Galway Bay petition? Okay, we got one, yes. Yeah, please step up.
Mark Griffith. I'm a property owner in Pearl River in the Business District. And Chris, I did want to say that it has been really a privilege to work with you through the Chamber of Commerce Rotary. You've really been a good example of someone that works hard, and we do appreciate that. We're going to miss you.
Thank you, Mark, thank you.
And with respect to the property, and I know that the board has heard the presentations on a number of occasions. I've looked at some of the notes and I watched some of the videos on that were posted on the internet. I had a question concerning the basement. Originally, the building had been a Grand Union with a full basement. I knew that when Jim Amon had it, he had his office downstairs, and I'm not sure if that downstairs, if the plans were in the plans, I didn't see that section, and whether that square footage was also used in the calculation for required parking spaces. So that would be one question. The other issue I wanted to make was that, or a point to make, is that the movie theater that was converted to senior housing is not an example of that we want to follow in Pearl River. I would say of anything that happened in Pearl River, that's probably the #1 missed opportunity, and really a shame for those of us in the business district that were hoping that we'd have something really nice in there that would draw people into town. We had this room filled to the brim and people outside with a committee that was put together with Mike Fury, Bill Harris, Tom Bertucci, just a number of different people, Mike O'Sullivan. We put money up ourselves, neighbors did, to try to get a community center in there that would have movies, that would have shows and so forth. And unfortunately, it was private property, and it was within the property owner's right to do what he wanted to do with it, and he chose to go a different direction. We offered way above appraised value to buy it and had a good business plan to run it. So the movie theater would have been a great thing. Instead, we have senior housing, which really doesn't do a whole lot for the town, and we lost some parking spaces in the deal. In terms of the amount that they paid for parking spaces, I think it was a great deal back then. I think that they got it too cheap. We're using that as the basis for the parking spaces now, so be it. In terms of the design, I think it looks pretty nice. I think the architect did a nice job. I think it fits on the space well. I do hope it works out well. It's just, I was hoping we'd have something else in town, but again, it's private property and private property owners. I understand being a business owner that we need to work hard, make some money, and pay our taxes in town. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak specifically on the Galway Bay petition? General public comment will be later. Okay. All right, we have a motion.
Can I just respond?
Well, you want to let him speak and then close it immediately thereafter, or do you want to close it?
You know, before Brian responds, I just want to point out a couple of items.
Sure.
We hope it doesn't have to be difficult. Well, maybe we'll.
Why don't we do that? Brian, Brian, if you could just answer about the basement, and then we'll close it, because that way it's on the record, and then we'll close out, and then we'll talk.
Okay. I have Mr. Tom Acton here. This is the first I'm hearing about there even is a basement there, but yeah, it's your testimony that the basement is not being utilized at all. It's,
The basement is just storage.
It wouldn't be illegal use of that.
No.
It's not,
No.
there's no access or anything, it's just
no,
a basement.
not at all. And I do know
Whoever had
Mark-
the office down there got himself in a little trouble.
I can't
sneaking
speak for the
some-
prior owner.
Yeah.
I do know Mark. I've known Mark for a number of years. And Mark, I was disappointed when the movie theater went away, too. You know, it was nice to have 2 movie theaters in downtown Pearl River because I could keep my kids busy on the weekends, especially if it was rainy. But this isn't a movie theater. It's a commercial space. It will remain as commercial space. We're adding 2 floors above. I'm glad to see that you reviewed the architectural plans, and I know, having spoken with Tom for at least 2 years about this project, it's his intention to make this a very attractive development in downtown Pearl River, and I think it fits very well in the area. It's certainly walkable. People could walk to the train station from there, and actually, I think it's all been spelled out before in our narrative summary, so I won't continue unless
you,
there's
Brian.
any questions or anything.
I think we're good.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll take that motion from Councilman Troy to close the public hearing. Is there a second? Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Rob, do you have something to add related to assorted legal details?
Just a couple of things. The board, as part of the zone change to PAC, has to make special findings, which the board has. One of them that you can decide on, and I had mentioned earlier, the parking. That's an item that also previously you were going to leave to the ZBA. The proposal now is for you to set it. The conditions are that there are 38 spaces, I believe. There's 38 spaces. The question is, this is a mixed use. It's going to end up being a mixed use with the commercial down below and the residential on top. The code calls for 1.5 spaces per dwelling unit for the PAC, which would mean it would require, there's 16 apartments, so that would be 24 spaces for residential. Again, you have the power, or the authority, I should say, to modify what in consultation with the applicant, I've mentioned it to Jane as well, and to the board, because of the issues with commercial parking and residential parking, you can leave it at 1.5, and then that would be 24 spaces. The remaining 14 would be for commercial, the commercial use down below. If you change that to 1.25 for the residential, that would make it 20 spaces for residential, and then the remaining 18, I keep getting 36 in my head, but it's 38. The remaining 18 would be for commercial. That's totally up to the board how it wants to handle that.
Question though, didn't we last time approve a sort of a just to give a certain amount of money over a certain number of spaces?
No, that
situation?
was, I'm going to get to that as well. You're still,
can still do
still
that.
going to do that.
But
This
this
is
is
just
about the-
how it's going to be allocated, how you want them to allocate it. This is a plan, quasi-planning issue for you.
It's a ZBA-ish type thing that could be,
Well,
from the new powers.
initially, we were going to leave with the ZBA. Again, this is one of those things that you can modify as part of your consideration of this.
gotcha.
So the question is, do you want to make it 20 spaces for residential? Because you have, the intent really is that people don't have cars there and have more opportunity for commercial parking, or since there's a lot next door that the commercial owners, I guess, or users could park in, do you want to make it to 24? So that's for you to decide.
How many were they short?
Yeah,
They're
well, on the
well-
original, by statute, they're short, how
But-
much?
Well, if you apply the underlying CS zone, it's one space for every 200 square feet of commercial. So that would be 44 spaces, I believe. So you should have had 44 commercial and 24 residential
And
if
they
you
have 30
went as
something?
is.
They have 30-something now on the...
They have 38.
38. And that's what we had done before, was we just said the difference between the 38 and that number was what they had to give us money on, right? That's
You
what I
left,
thought.
well, you left the 24 residential,
Mhm.
14 commercial,
14 commercial.
and said go, and we're asking for $60,000 to the per over parking fee.
So I think we just duplicate what we did last time. We got, it was 4 votes. So
That's fine?
Nothing's changed. so-
nothing's
Okay.
changed except our powers have changed. That's the only thing that's changed.
That's fine. So you'll leave it at the 1.5.
Whatever it was last
Okay,
time.
so we'll make that, okay. Hold on one second. And then 14. And then the other issues, at planning board, when it's approved, if it gets approved for site plan, they will set the fee in lieu of recreation.
Mhm.
Again, that'll be something that has to come up. We mentioned the contribution towards parking, that's in there. And finally, I want to mention the lot and bulk controls. As you recall, you recently changed the law to allow you to modify minimum lot area, base density, and maximum floor area ratio. If you're inclined to vote on this tonight and approve it, those three, I would ask for a separate vote, because that must be approved by a majority plus one.
Okay.
Remember?
But
when
we don't need a supermajority on the base, though.
You don't need a supermajority on the zone change, on the application in general.
Because we didn't get any, like, overrides we have to do?
Well, you do need, there is one override on
So
Rockland
then we
County
need 4
planning.
anyway.
You need 4 for the Rockland County planning override. But you do need 4 for that, a separate, procedurally, you need a separate vote for those 3 that I mentioned.
You
The
have
up-
that broken out on the agenda?
I do have it broken, I have broken out in special findings. So
Okay.
what I would ask you to do, if you're inclined to do it, is to do a motion to approve, Then a motion to modify a minimum lot area, maximum floor area, and maximum density, and have a roll call and make sure that that's a 4-to-1 in order for it to pass. The others, the other bulk requirements will be set as provided. Again, many are TBD in the code, and you're determining them today, as per the plans that Mr. Greenwell provided. And then the final thing would be a separate vote, Rockland County Planning, its letter dated December 16th. The first comment indicates that the site is undersized, the density is significant, and required on-site parking is deficient.
The only question, or why we're shuffling papers, is that we only have 2 resolutions in the agenda, so you have 4 there.
Right, they're in the, within the special findings. They're part of the special findings as a vote. I can show it to, I'll show it to you when I'm done.
This must be the way it's presented in here. Oh, see attached special findings and legal
Right,
description.
right.
Okay. You're gonna have to walk us through this, because I haven't even look at it. Like,
Okay,
right in front of
I'll
me.
do it as we
Dig
go.
through the whole backup.
I'll do as we go, and just because of county planning, last thing it says is the size of the building must be reduced, so the extent of required variances are lessened, and buffers and other amenities can be included in the proposal. So that would require a supermajority override.
Okay.
if you're
So
not
we need-
requiring to reduce the
We need
size
4
of the
anyway,
building.
so we just need 3 for one of them, but in order to do that one, we need 4 for everything.
Right.
So we need 4, so we're fine. Okay. Any questions for Rob? No?
Well, I don't know.
No, I'm sorry, it's not, that portion's closed, so it's our questions for him. Thanks, Mark. Okay, thanks, Rob. He'll be happy to answer, after, but.
Right, but this is a new,
Well, Rob, whatever it was in July is what we want to vote on as the requirements. That's what got the 4 votes.
correct, in terms of parking.
For parking. Yeah,
Right, so it's 1.5 per unit, I'm sorry, per dwelling unit. The bedrooms are the same.
The
let me
limit
just
of
go
ratio of bedrooms, but was it 1.5 per dwelling unit back then, or you have the July one in front?
I don't think that was in the decision. I don't recall that in the decision. Is that in the decision? So how many parking spaces were there?
Depending on the number of apartments per unit. Because originally there were.
So how many?
No, I think that was, I think that was the,
No, that was,
Basis for the
no, what we were gonna do
payment.
was do 1 spot per a 1-bedroom and 2 spots per 2-bedroom, and we just said make it 1.5 total. Now I'm remembering.
and that's what's in the code. 1.5 is in the code.
We just said, you know what, just leave it 1.5.
For dwelling
'cause it
unit.
was- We were saying make it 1 for 1-bedrooms and 2 for 2-bedrooms.
And that may have been a basis for your calculation on the,
That was, we were doing a whole bunch of math and calculating the money and everything like that, and
Right.
how much you would owe
for the
us.
60,000.
And that's where the 60,000 came from, yes. But
It
that-
may have been.
I'm remembering the conversation you're talking about now, yeah. But that's what happened. It ended up being 1.5 because it was 6 1/2 dozen the other if we did it 1 for 1-bedroom and 2 for 2-bedroom.
Right, and I just want to make sure of the units.
And make sure the ratio of units is the same as previously.
Right, no, it's required 68. They're setting 38, basically, by saying 24 are for residential, the remaining 14 are for the
Right,
commercial.
and then the additional payment.
It is what it is, you can't add the spots.
They owe us for
So
30
they're 30, right,
Yes,
which is
exactly.
where you got the
Yes,
60,000.
we said 2,000 a spot,
That's where we got it.
assuming,
Yeah.
that's how we got the
Mhm.
60,000.
I just want to make sure, how many 1 and 2 bedrooms are there? 10 twos and 6 ones.
Is that what we put on? Is the restriction, was it 10 and, was that the same as it was back then?
So it would be 2 more
believe so.
spots if we go with that.
The code calls for 1.5
Whatever
per
we
dwelling
voted on
unit.
in July is what it should be.
Right, not bedroom size, dwelling unit.
Whatever we voted on in July is what it should be. So that's the number of bedrooms you presented in July, that's what it is. And that's the number of spots it was, that's what it is. We're
Right, the
all
plan
fine
has
with that.
not changed in that
Okay,
respect.
as long as it's all the same. All right. Thank you, Rob.
Okay. I'll stay here for the vote.
Any
if you
other
want.
comments or questions, gentlemen? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and what I'm gonna do actually here, because I'm feeling a little uncomfortable given that I can only see part of the resolution. Rob, can you please call for the vote to tell us what we're voting, to make sure that I'm not saying the wrong thing? and I'm
Okay,
messing
well,
the whole thing
first
up?
it would
So
be
it's
the
the neg
secret.
deck first, right?
Right.
All right, so do I have a motion for the issuing a negative declaration with respect to this particular item? The motion? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No? Okay. All right, just making sure. Didn't want to jump the gun there. All right, so right now what I see, Rob, is I have adopting the local law, changing from CS to PAC, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. The
Is
way
there-
I typically handle this is, I'd ask for a motion, if you're so inclined, to approve that, and a second. Don't vote on it, then we'll go to the special votes that I
Okay,
mentioned.
so do I have a motion on the adoption item? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Batari. Okay, now we have the other ones, Rob?
Right, now, if the
So,
board is,
I'm voting no on that, so.
You're gonna vote no, probably
Well,
the next two
there's no
also.
vote yet.
Yeah, so they're gonna be batched, I think.
so at this point, I'd ask for a motion to modify the minimum lot area, maximum floor area, and maximum density as provided in the chart. I ask the motion is made by,
You have a motion? Councilman
I'll
Valentine,
make a motion.
second by Councilman Troy. We're holding off on the vote.
and I'll ask for a roll call vote on that now.
Okay, so we're gonna vote on that
Vote on
first.
that now.
All right, so we need a roll call on that particular question, which was the modification of the bulk rules.
Councilman Batari?
Yes.
Councilman Divany?
Nope.
Councilman Troy?
Yes.
Councilman Valentine?
Yes.
Supervisor Day?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's a 4-to-1 supermajority that passes.
That's on the bulk requirements,
bulk.
and then you have one more
Now,
for an
another,
override.
I'd ask for a motion to override county planning comment number 1. And again, the basis being the unique characteristics of the site, including the location downtown Pearl River and proximity to public transportation, make the required modifications appropriate. There's further language in there that the board has, and so I would ask for a motion on the override of county planning comment number 1 from its letter of, I'm sorry, I got to change the date, 12/16/19.
Do we have a motion? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Batari. All, no, we're not doing a roll call on that
Roll
one?
call, yes.
On a roll call, please, Rosanna?
Councilman Batari?
Yes.
Councilman Divany?
Nope.
Councilman Troy?
Yes.
Councilman Valentine?
Yes.
Supervisor Day?
Yes. And now we're back to the main question?
Right, so that passed. Let me just get
That was
myself
passed 4-1.
settled here. And now, based on those findings, you had a motion and a second. Now it would be appropriate for a vote.
This is
again,
a vote on the
a
base
roll call
underlying for the law.
On everything.
All right, so now a vote by roll call on adoption of the law.
The law and with the modifications and
With
the,
modifications.
bulk, lot and bulk controls as set forth in the proposed law.
Okay. Rosanna, please, thank you.
Councilman Batari?
Yes.
Councilman Divany?
Nope.
Councilman Troy?
Yes.
Councilman Valentine?
Yes.
Supervisor Day?
Yes. And we're
That's
good?
it.
Thank you, Rob. Leave it to the last meeting I'm in for it to be
What's that?
completely blind. I'm led like a blind man
That's
through this
right.
one. It's the last one. I wouldn't be like, yeah, you,
Yeah, we had another public.
We gotta
okay,
have-
we have another public hearing,
Oh,
yeah.
We do?
Yeah, it's a quick one. It's the board, the map of the Pearl Fire District.
All right.
Yeah, so, do I have a resolution to open the public hearing, a motion to open the public hearing for the fire district? From Councilman Divany, second by Councilman Valentine, all in favor?
Aye.
Is anyone here to present or speak on the Pearl River Fire District map?
I don't think so.
I'm seeing none. Okay, everyone has it available to them.
Motion to close?
I have a motion to close the public hearing from Councilman Divany, second by Councilman Batari, all in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to the vote on that, do I have a motion to approve the map of the Pearl River Fire District
Move.
as presented? Councilman Divany, second by Councilman Valentine, all in favor? All right, and then we have another public hearing that we're gonna open and immediately close, the Bieber one, because it was
All right.
withdrawn. Do I have a motion from Councilman Divany,
Moved.
second by Councilman Batari, all in favor? So that's a motion that both opened and closed it with, oh, I'm sorry, one abstention from Councilman Valentine. So that concludes the public hearings, so we're gonna go back then to public comment.
Public comment.
Okay, I have 2 sign-ins for public comment. that contains the entirety of the public, actually. Oh, there's a couple more in the back. One from Esther Baitler. Let me just, real quick.
There's 6 people.
Enter 1, 3, enter 3.
Good evening, Supervisor Day and Town Board members. My name is Esther Ann Baitler, and I'm a very unique consumer who lives in Park Hill. I would like to wish Chris Day the best of luck in his new endeavors. He did a lot for Orangetown. We will miss him and his great sense of humor at the meetings. I also would like to tell everybody that on January 12th, Venture is celebrating their 50th anniversary at Fieldstone Elementary School in Fields, and that there's a new policy out that everybody who's involved with Venture has to attend. So please reply to Matthew, Shelley, Dennis, you're one of them.
I'll be there.
We also are having another one on April 25th from 2 to 5 at Venture Hall. Yes, we'll give senior discounts for that one. I just want to, again, wish Chris Day the best of luck. I hope he'll come back and get to listen to all the workshops and town board meetings, as usual. I just want to wish all my friends who celebrate Christmas a very Merry Christmas, Happy, Healthy New Year. And to all my Jewish friends who celebrate Hanukkah, Happy Hanukkah. And on Thursday, I expect the board at Five Guys. Poor Valentine will be there in attendance. He loves us. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you,
Thank
Esther.
you for your time.
All right, who else?
All right, next we have Mike Mandel of Pearl River.
Tough act to follow, Mike.
I did go to Five Guys the other day, though. It was good.
Now let's go there. I'm not there.
I didn't know you weren't there.
It's a conference.
Go ahead, Mike.
Good evening, Supervisor Day and members of the town board. Michael Mandel, resident of Pearl River. Number 11, at the last public hearing regarding the TOD in downtown Pearl River, you stated you were going to give it out to all of the interested agencies. Is the first thing on the, as far as it goes, is it going to be a study of the parking in downtown Pearl River to see if this is feasible in all
This is a
respects?
required step to do all that, yes.
Yeah, I know it's a required step, but that should be a primary step, because if there's not enough parking, it makes the whole plan moot. So I think if the parking goes first, then you can really actually see if there is an ability to put in so many units or quite a few less, which I support quite a few less. Is the full environmental assessment form available online regarding that? I see it's been sent out to the other agencies. Is it available for the taxpayers' review at this time?
I'll catch you at the end, though.
Okay. And the second thing was resolution number 26 with the bonding. It's playgrounds. What other projects are involved in that? And does the new bonding, is this additional bonding, or will this bonding, is it going to up the amount of bonding owed by the town, or will it be covered where we paid off other bonds? So is it going to be, an even swap or whatever?
Good question.
So, and I just wanted to say, congrats, best of luck. I appreciated you here for the last 2 years, so you and your family do wish the very best, Chris,
Thank you, man.
So, and this the last thing, I just wanted to do it, just wanted to wish all my politically correct acquaintances, those of the Jewish faith, I want to wish you all a very happy Hanukkah. To my fellow Christians, I would like to wish you a very Merry Christmas. And if I have offended anybody by stating that, God bless you too. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mike.
Anyone else?
I don't see anyone else signed in. Is anyone else here for public comment? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public comment.
Motion to close public comment?
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Vitari. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, just to Mike's two questions. There's a rigid set of steps for a project like this. The environmental assessment incorporates traffic studies, and it's going to be circulated. It has not yet been circulated. We're directing it. It will be available for view by the public online, and we'll make sure it gets put up shortly. but this is to get comment. It's not finalized. We send it out in the current version, get the comment, and then there's going to be another set of hearings. So this is, in order to have the set of hearings, we have to get comment, so it's still a draft form, essentially. And then the question about bonding, this is not additional bonding. There's every 2 years a set of about it has been historically about $9 million of bonds to fees are paid down. Last time we reduced our bonding load on the $9 million by about $1 million. This one would up it by about, depending on whether or not the 250 has to goes through, about $1 million on this batch. So the net is the same amount of total bonding over the course of the 4-year cycle of bonding. So no, it's not additional. It's still the same approximate debt load within plus or minus, $10,000 to $50,000 or something like that. Okay, so now we're on to the agenda items. We passed the items 5, item 6. Thank you, Tom. Item 11 is our next one. No, yep, Trevor TOD. All right, so this is what we were just talking about, to circulate the EAF for commentary by adjacent agencies and to intention to serve as lead agency. Do I have a motion on this?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution to approve film permit for Nike Overlook Park. This happened already, but it was, we were informed of it. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Same thing for South Orangetown Little League Park on December 16th. Is there a motion? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Batari. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approve settlement for Mahatmataj v. Orangetown. Are there any questions or do you want a motion?
No.
No? Okay. Do a motion on the table?
No, I want to roll call vote.
Okay, well, let's get a motion in a second first, and then we can do a roll call. Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Troy. We could do it on a roll call, please?
Councilman Vitari,
Yes.
Councilman Troy,
Yes.
Supervisor Day,
Yes.
Councilman Divany,
Yes.
Councilman Paul Valentine.
No.
Thank you. Moving on, we have a resolution to accept filed documents in the town clerk's office. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving to highway, creation of 4 MEO3 positions in highway. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to award bid for HVAC units, roof mounted. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Valentine. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve a residential adopt-a-spot at Ethan Allen Court. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Batari. All in favor?
Aye.
Parks and Rec, approved caretaker agreement for Nike Park. Is there a motion? Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Divney. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve same for Henry Borst Park. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Batari. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, taking note, this is a new person, this one. Okay, the other one was an extension. I didn't quite make that distinction.
The other one's, the one Bush Park is Brian Edwards, is gonna be the resident.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's good to make that point, though. Thank you. Then resolution to approve, wait, did I skip one? No, I did not. Resolution to approve an MOU for New York Sharks pool use. They're not real sharks, they're people. Is there a motion? Councilman Vitari, second by Councilman Divney. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to award bid for Broad Acres Golf Cart lease, $33K a year. Is there a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Batari. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to approve a change order regarding the demolition of vacant structures on Chief Bill Harris Way. It discovered some limited asbestos. Is there a motion? All right, there we go. Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Batari. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution to accept a donation of John Hickey Memorial Tree on Blue Hill Golf Course to be planted in spring 2020. Motion by Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to Town Attorney, we have a resolution to set a public hearing. This is going to be for the 28th at 7:45 PM of January, that is, related to a zone change request for Orangeburg Commons. Is there a motion? Councilman Batari, second by Councilman Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
Rob, was there anything to circulate for that we have to do?
Yeah, we'll do the circulation of,
It's okay to do that closer, to do circulation? Because that's, like, is there anything else we have to do before, now that we've set it? It's okay, we've set the thing? For Orangeburg Commons?
Good, now we'll circulate everything.
Okay, there's no separate resolution, I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything. Okay. Because I know there's a gap and we're going to run into it.
Right, no, we declared detention completed.
Okay. Oh, it was all one resolution, that's why. All right, authorizing improvements. All right, so these are bonding resolutions. The first one, and Jeff, you want to talk to them because you have all the details in front of you?
I just wanted to make sure we have to vote for each of these resolutions individually by roll call. So the first one is for building maintenance in the amount of $543,000.
And for those of you looking at the agenda that was circulated, there was an error that left off most of the bond resolutions, only one made it on, but we have them up here, and they will be put online, and they were on already as backup.
So Rosanna, if you can do the roll call, please.
This is for the building maintenance block. If you look at this packet you have in front of you, gentlemen, with the list. Building maintenance, funds A and B, .17. All right, do I have a motion on the bonding group regarding building maintenance? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Batari. And we have a roll call, please, Rosanna?
Councilman Batari,
Yes.
Councilman Diviny,
Yes.
Councilman Troy,
Yes.
Councilman Valentine,
Yes.
Supervisor Day.
Yes.
Okay, the second resolution within that pack is for parks improvements for various playgrounds in the amount of $855,000.
And a note, the 250 of this may be coming as a grant. We have about 85% solution on it.
And even though you're voting for the higher amount, the board can always reduce it up until the day before we issue the bonds. So it gives us time to determine whether we're getting the grant or not.
Do I have a motion on the playgrounds? Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy, all in favor? I'm sorry, nope, undo that, pretend that didn't happen. On a roll call? It's out of order.
Councilman Batari,
Yes.
Councilman Troy,
Yes.
Councilman Diviny,
Yes.
Councilman Valentine,
Yes.
Supervisor Day.
Yes. Jeffrey?
Okay, the third part of the first bond group is a resolution for Blue Hill golf improvements in the amount of $425,000.
Do I have a motion?
Motion. Moved.
Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Troy, on a roll call.
Councilman Batari,
Yes.
Just the way they broke it out, there's a bunch.
Troy,
Each type has to be
Yes.
broken out by to it, otherwise it's illegal.
Supervisor Day,
Yes.
Councilman Diviny,
Yep. Yes.
Councilman Valentine.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the
Moving on.
fourth resolution in bond group one is for $2 million, and that is for highway paving.
I do want to point out on this one, last time we budgeted 1.8 for it. Speaking with Superintendent Dean, costs have risen to do the same number of miles of paving. It had to be 2 million this year due to the increased costs associated with everything in the world. So, motion for Councilman Divney, second by Councilman Batari. On a roll call?
Councilman Batari,
Yes.
Councilman Troy,
Yes.
Supervisor Day,
Yes.
Councilman Diviny,
Yes.
Councilman Valentine.
Yes.
Jeff?
The next bond resolution is for $500,000, and that is for highway drainage projects.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Troy, second by Councilman Divney, all in favor? No? Out of order, on a roll call. Making it the sloppiest one I've had in like 2 years.
Councilman Batari,
Yes.
Councilman Troy,
Yes.
Supervisor Day,
Yes.
Councilman Diviny,
Yes.
Councilman Valentine.
Yes.
Jeff?
Okay, the next resolution is for $500,000, and it's also for the highway, and it's for sidewalk projects.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Councilman Valentine, second by Councilman Troy. On a roll call?
Councilman Batari,
Yes.
Councilman Troy,
Yes.
Supervisor Day,
Yes.
Councilman Tiffany,
Yes.
Councilman Valentine.
Yes.
Okay, Jeff?
Okay, the next resolution, and final in Group 1, is for $2,073,000, and that is for highway equipment purchases.
Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divany, second by Councilman Troy. On a roll call?
Councilman Batari,
Yes.
Councilman Troy,
Yes.
Supervisor Day,
Yes.
Councilman Tiffany,
Yes.
Councilman Valentine.
Yes.
Jeff?
Okay, that's the end for Bond Group 1. Bond Group 2 is in your agenda and is correct, so you can just continue on with the agenda and vote. And just for the board's knowledge, there's going to be a third bond group, which is for the sewer, but that has to be published more than 10 days and less than 20 days before you vote. So that vote is going to be on the January 17th, 2020 meeting. So we will publish that for that meeting.
And you can see, for those of you following along, it's 10.1 million in total, including those sewer amounts, which is about $1 million more, but it'll also be 250 less than that if we end up getting the grant. And then we had $1 million less last time, so we're netting to about 9.
And over, covers us for 2 years, and in general, we'll pay off a little over $9 million, over those 2 years as well. So the debt remains relatively constant.
Great. All right, so the next resolution is actually item number 27, which has $638,527 worth of bonds. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divany, second by Councilman Batari. Batari. On a roll call?
Councilman Batari,
Yes.
Councilman Troy,
Yes.
Supervisor Day,
Yes.
Councilman Tiffany,
Yes.
Councilman Valentine.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, we're going to discuss these next two in executive session for personnel. The last thing we have here is pay vouchers. Jeff, you shouldn't have sat down, wasting your time.
Okay, tonight's audit consists of 4 warrants for a total of $525,000. First warrant had 9 vouchers for $70,000. Items of interest, MetLife, $13,000 for police dental benefits. Number 3, Triple C Glass, $32,000 for the new receiver bulletproof glass in the clerk's office. The second warrant had 44 vouchers for $143,000 and was for utilities. The third warrant had 1 voucher for $62 and was for a legal fee. The fourth warrant had 141 vouchers for $311,000. Items of interest, number 1, Atlantic Salt, $58,000 for highway salt purchases. Number 3, Capasso, $62,000 for recycling. Number 7, Goosetown, $30,000 for police dispatch terminals and the semi-annual lease payments. And number 8, new NYS PRS, $23,000 for theme park tickets. Any questions on the audit?
Questions on the audit? I will point out that now Rosanna can collect taxes and do clerk things in the same office because of the bulletproof glass. And when she moves to the new town hall, Justice Court will move into that space. So we will have already basically started the new town project with us. So, questions on the audit?
No question.
No. Motion?
Moved.
Councilman Divany, second by Councilman Batari. All in favor?
Aye.
If you folks would indulge me for 2 minutes, I did want to say a couple of brief words. I was waiting to the end. But since I got us through at 8:34 on 3 public hearings, I think that's pretty good, right? I just wanted to talk very briefly, a couple of thoughts as I finish my last meeting. We will be coming back from executive session, but literally no one will be here then. It'll be really weird to talk to the empty room. I'm proud of a lot of the stuff we've managed to do as a team, all 5 of us, and also all of our department heads and workers in the last 2 years. I'm going to rattle a few off. We instituted department head meetings for the first time since 2016 and continued them. We restarted Adopt-a-Spot program, which has resulted in multiple green spaces being improved in our town, increased funding for tree planting. We began a massive digitization program that's still underway and will continue, and so far has reduced our paper usage by 35% alone. We created a new standard for meetings and efficiency in government business. Evidenced here, this was a workshop and a regular meeting, and we finished it in about a half hour. We instituted new communication methods for our residents, new air quality reporting forms and code violation reporting forms online to make it more efficient. We achieved the first convictions of the company Aloof for odor violations after years of their creating odors in our community. We have now full-time school resource police officers in both of our high schools, keeping our kids safe from the scourge of drugs and potential school shootings. I came in and talked to the then chief and the current chief, and we've completed training for all of our police officers in the M4 series of rifles. So now every police officer that goes out has a M4 rifle and body armor and helmet with them in the vehicle, so that if they arrive at a school shooting or another violent event, they can hold their own against whatever's thrown at them and keep our kids safe. We cut taxes in the first year. We stayed under the cap in the second year. We've moved the TOD mixed-use zone for Pearl River, completed its first phase of hearings, and now we just sent it out for environmental review. We reduced the workforce of the town by over 5% without a single layoff. We started a long-needed and long-awaited community center and town hall projects, and now we've gotten them through to almost completion of the design phase on both projects. These are massive public works projects that just aren't being built many other places. We completed our first new playground installations in 25 years, which have rubberized surfaces and modern equipment so more kids can play. And today, we just funded replacement for all of the rest of our playgrounds in town, including a massive park complex that will be fully inclusive for kids with all sorts of different abilities to play alongside their friends. That's a lot of stuff, I would think, but it reminds me of a poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look at my work, see mighty in despair. Nothing beside remains around the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." Whatever we do on this earth disappears eventually. When I came into office, I got a kind of a scary diagnosis. I found out that I had a disease that, fortunately, from this organ system that it struck, didn't kill me immediately. This was in December of 2017. Left untreated, it would have an 80+% death rate within 5 years. Again, fortunately, it was non-vital organ that hit first, extremely rare, called vasculitis. I've dealt with the treatment of that disease for the last year and a half, 2 years, and happily I'm in remission. So I'm in that 20% now. That sort of diagnosis gives you a new perspective on life and on what matters. So I'm proud of what we've done, but I'm prouder of everything we've done together other than that. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of my department heads. I want to thank Rosanna, who stood by me. I want to thank Paul, Tom, Dennis, and Jerry. Great board. I couldn't have done anything without you. And I want to thank Rob over here, who stepped in as town attorney. I want to thank Teresa and wish her best of luck at continuing going forward. I want to thank Mike Lawler, who's an incredible friend, deputy supervisor, Republican chairman, all-around good guy. Again, I want to thank Kim, Amanda, Greg, Jeff, all the department heads. I want to thank my wife and my kids, especially, and thank my mom. Last of all, I want to thank the town of Orangetown for everything you've given me, and I hope I was able to give you a little bit back. It's been a fun time. So,
Chris, you're the smartest one here. You're getting out of this circus.
you haven't seen my house at bedtime with 4 kids going on 5. I'm still in the circus, Tom. So, thank you all. Yes, Esther? Thank you. I will entertain a motion to move to executive session for personnel and litigation matters.
Second.
Second by Council.
Chris,
I'll move it.
just, Esther has something that she wanted to say when she was up at the mic, and she forgot to, which was to thank Brian Quinn for helping out at Joania.
Brian
the
Quinn's a
new
great guy, too. I felt like I worked with him. He's here so often, but he did.
All right.
All right, so the
As
second
this-
was from Council, I'll make that motion, second from Councilman Divney. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll be coming back out.